a lot of us are getting our emotional needs met in our friendships. So now the bar is different. My girlfriends have told me that I'm the best boyfriend they've ever had. And that should tell you something. Hello, my pretties. It's Candice, and welcome back to Pretty Intentional, the podcast where beauty, lifestyle, and personal growth meet honesty, self-reflection, and real life. I've been avoiding and dreading recording this podcast episode, but it's clear that we need to talk about it because one of the most consistent questions I get, especially from my community, is about my dating life. I get it. I share quite a bit of my life. I let you into my thoughts, my routines, my growth, my healing. So naturally, people are like, okay, but what's going on romantically? And the most comical part to me is the speculation because it's always wrong. I've seen assumptions, theories, the quiet conclusions being drawn, and I'm just over here like, wow, that's a new one. And honestly, I have been very intentional about not talking about that part of my life, not because I'm hiding anything, not because anything is lacking, but because I don't like how quickly curiosity turns into perception and then that turns into narrative. And my Scorpio moon does not like to be perceived. I'm also aware that as an influencer and someone who does share and talk about things publicly, once something is talked about publicly, it is open to commentary, conversation, and opinion. And I damn sure don't want any of the above. So I am just very protective of my peace and my privacy. However, I do also recognize that it's real conversations that are happening amongst women, especially women who are confident, established, and on paper have it all, but are still single. So today I do want to open up that door just a little bit and not to explain myself, but just to explore things that I know a lot of us are already experiencing and discussing. So the truth of it is, I am single. I am not secretly married. I don't have a hidden man. There's no situationship y'all need to decode. I'm just single. And I'm okay with that. Not in a I've given up on love type of way, not in a men ain't shit type of way, but in a very grounded, very intentional, I've built a life that feels good and I'm not willing to disrupt it for the wrong person kind of way. I still believe in love and partnership. I'm not sure if it's something I desire, but I believe in it. I don't know if I will be in a serious relationship again, and I don't know if I will ever get married. But what I do know is that I love my life as it is. I love my peace. I love my routines. I love the way I've learned myself. I love the version of me that I had to fight to become. The life I have now didn't just happen. It came from a lot of self work, a lot of discipline, and a lot of boundaries, especially with myself. So I'm not about to abandon that just to experience love. And I do think that's where a lot of women are right now. We're not necessarily avoiding relationships and we're not anti men. We're just no longer willing to be underloved, overlooked, or emotionally drained just to say that we have someone. And once you get to that place, being alone doesn't feel like lack, it feels like alignment. One of my biggest fears over the last 20 years or so, I would say, is I don't want to be that black woman we see in the rom-com movies of she's staring at the proverbial clock and she's desperate for marriage, partnership, and babies. The one that has that long ass list for the perfect man. I never grew up fantasizing about my wedding. There was a point in my life where I said, I'm never getting married. I'm just going to be like Oprah and have a Stedman and live in a high rise condo with a bunch of dogs. And I vividly remember saying that to myself as early as middle or high school. I'm also not going to lie to you and say that I haven't in my past prayed for and about a man. That relationship things weren't on my vision board. I'd be a bold-faced lie if I told you that. I've written down who my bridesmaids would be. I've had the list of baby names. But in this season of my life, I'm also super cool if none of those things happen. If things are aligned and they feel good and they flow, then by all means. But I just feel that too much of an emphasis on those things is forcing it, and it makes you male centered, and I fucking refuse to do that. And I think that's really the heart of this conversation, because I think a lot of us have quietly shifted from wanting to be chosen to being very intentional about what we choose. And I think that shift changes how dating feels. It changes what we tolerate, it changes what we're attracted to, it changes how long we stay. And for some of us, it's made the dating pool feel real different. People love to say the dating pool is trash and it has piss in it. And I don't know if it's trash or we've just evolved. Because when you've done work on yourself emotionally, mentally, spiritually, you don't date the same. You shouldn't date the same anymore. You're not impressed by potential anymore. You're not moved by inconsistency. You're not confusing chemistry with compatibility. And that narrows your options a lot. And when your options narrow like that, you start to realize something. Peace feels better than potential. Because I've experienced both. I've experienced the anxiety, the confusion, and the overthinking. I've also experienced peace. And I'm not trading peace for a maybe. And if I'm being really honest, a lot of us are getting our emotional needs met in our friendships. Our girlfriends are showing up, they celebrate us, they listen, they're consistent. There's a level of reciprocity there that a lot of women haven't experienced romantically. So now the bar is different. My girlfriends have told me that I'm the best boyfriend they've ever had. And that should tell you something. But I do want to check us women for a second. And I'm always hesitant to do that publicly because people want to just label you a pick me, and it's never given that. But I do think we as women need to be held accountable as well. Because I don't want this to turn into just like, a men ain't shit type of thing. That's not what this is. I think the real question is, are we truly open to love? Or have we just become very comfortable being alone? Because those two are not the same thing. And I can admit, even for myself, that's something I've had to sit with. Because, like I said, I'm still a lover girl. My standards are just different. I have awareness now. I have peace now. And love, I think real love, has to be able to exist within that, but not disrupt it. I do want to take it a step further because, the girls love to talk about the list of what we want in a man, what he needs to have, how he needs to show up, what he needs to provide. And listen, I'm not against standards. I have them. You all should have your own. I often think about Nicole Ari Parker and something that she had shared that before she got married to Boris, I think she shared it with her therapist and like this whole long list. And the rebuttal from the therapist was, okay, now go sit with your list and you go check all of those things off of your list. And when you do that, you end up becoming whole. You start checking your own list. Like, are you emotionally available? Are you consistent? Are you self-aware? Do you communicate well? Do you have discipline, financial and or physical? Do you honor your own boundaries? Because the truth is, the kind of relationship that many women say that they want requires a version of us that is just as developed. And I'm not saying that to shame anyone. I'm saying that because I've had to look at myself too. Because for me, a lot of the peace that I have now came from doing the internal work first, from holding myself accountable, from building discipline, from setting boundaries with myself before I ever tried to set them with someone else. And that changes how you date. Because now you're not just asking, does he meet my standards? You're also asking, am I showing up as the kind of partner that I say that I want? And I think that's where I want to leave this. Because this isn't a conversation about giving up on love. It's about not abandoning yourself to access it. It's about being honest about where you are, being intentional about what you want, and being disciplined enough not to settle for what you know doesn't align. And if I'm speaking for myself, yes, I'm still a lover girl. I believe in love. I still believe in partnership, but I also believe that love should feel like peace, not confusion or inconsistency, not something that I have to work over time to maintain. And until it feels like that, I'm good. I'm not settling, I'm not searching, I'm not forcing. I'm just living and growing and being. And if love finds me in that space, beautiful. And if it doesn't, my life is still full. So if you're listening to this and you've been questioning yourself, wondering if you're behind or if you're doing something wrong, if you should try harder to find someone, let me just say this. You are not too much. You are not too late. And you are not missing out. You're just no longer available for anything that doesn't meet you where you are. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Pretty Intentional. If you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe, rate, and leave a comment. It truly helps the show grow. You can follow me at Candice O Beauty on all platforms, and be sure to follow Pretty Intentional as well. Remember, being intentional isn't about being perfect, it's about showing up for yourself and your journey. Until next time.